Well, let's go to let's talk a little bit about parents and how it plays into this because this what the confounding factor, to use a term, is the parents a lot of times when it comes to how the individuals behave, um, especially within a team. So you got to keep in mind you only see the kids X number of hours a week, and the rest of the time they have mom and dad or someone that is in their ear about whatever it is, good or bad. So I wanted to start first. Obviously, you're pointing out that when it comes to individuals, parents are also individuals, and they come as a package deal with their kids. So that's something that you have to learn how to navigate. And I think a lot of these strategies um, that we're talking about with the players could also apply to the parents in a lot of ways. So maybe you can start if you want to even talk about when you were coaching, dealing with parents, or even how we deal with parents now. Maybe like starting like right off the hop with your team, like start of the year or whatever, like how to kind of set the tone with the parents, or whatever, how to deal with the parents through the season
It's
too, however
tough.
you want to take
It's the
that.
toughest thing, right? It's the
Yeah.
toughest thing, and I'm not saying this in an all negative fashion. It's the toughest thing because you know there's so many dynamics to that because you could have a dad and say parents that were super athletes and they just get sports and they have an opinion, okay, right or wrong. You can have the next set of parents that have never played a sport in their life that are out of shape. They've never been in a dressing room. They'd never, they can't understand why someone maybe missed a shift or the craziness that goes on in hockey, right? You could like there's that so you can't even relate to them. It's you could be talking to for my personality, like I'm not a don't be a baby, but then you could be talking to a parent that they baby their kids all the time. It's like they can't wipe their own ass, right? So there's just so many dynamics. So like the only thing you could say as a coach is this is my philosophy, this is what I expect, and that's take it or leave it. Like honestly, for me, that's take it or leave it. Like I said, like I was not a guy. I was not a be there early guy and stretch and waste an hour every time. Like for practices, like I'm gonna work with you. I need my kids there 10 minutes before. Whereas some people will go against that. But you know what? If that's the coach's rules, maybe you can ask them privately or in a group meeting or whatever. But those are his rules. So as a coach, you set the guidelines to what you want your team to be, and then no matter what that is, if there's 20 people on your team, then you're going to have a third that love it, third that don't, third that want to, that are indifferent. So I don't think that to me, the hardest part about coaching is parenting, but it doesn't make the parents wrong. It's just a difference in philosophy, honest to goodness. Um, Now, when it comes to the actual game of hockey, there's right and wrong, but the way they deal with things is not. So where your parameters to me are untouchable is like your coaching, the actual on ice coaching. This is how I coach. This is what way it is. How the parents deal with the kids, or how you do and how you coach them, but how the parents deal with the kids is just something that I don't know if you can ever get a grasp of. I don't know if that's possible. Like I'm just thinking like me being the perfect dad and coach. No, but what I mean by that is like being around the game and thinking that my way. I think my way is the right way. I do. So some people would look at me like the coach, like because coaches ask, right? Like they want my opinion on things and stuff like that. And I say something like, "Well, just let them play, man. Like I don't. It's not that important right now. When they're 13." Well, that could be like the wrong answer for that coach. It's like the guy doesn't care. Doesn't help his kid out at all. Like which isn't true, right? So everybody rubs a coach the wrong way at some point.
What about like how much or how involved you would be with the parents? Like, because this is where like I think there's a lot of like gray area, and I mean this tails into a couple different topics, right? Because not only is it like okay, how involved do you want to be with the parents, like how much you're going to talk to them or interact with them, but then it's like the optics, right? It's like giving like oh you're buddies with these parents or like you're not buddies with you don't like this parent or even with the kids for that matter like you're talking more to this kid than this kid or however you want to slice
Yeah,
that up. So what about that kind of
it's a good question. Well,
like what did you do when you were a coach, like when you in terms of like
I
talking with parents or whatever?
yeah. Uh, okay, so like no big deal for me. I don't like a lot of people, so I'm not hanging out with you. And then, like, the way I am, I like who I like, and who I like a lot. But that doesn't change the hockey piece. So, like my buddy talked about, like, here's a perfect thing. Was a very good friend of mine, not before hockey, but as we met, and it wasn't because we're alike. So he's the one that called me the one time. His son went to Harvard. He's the one that called me as a friend, and he goes, "I don't want to be this guy, Andy, but I just asked a question for you." He's like, "How come you never put on the power play?" So we're great friends, and I said, "Because it doesn't change my hockey philosophy." And I told him that going in, hang out all day, but I'm going to treat your kid the way he needs to be coached. So it was like, because I don't want to put him in weak situations where he looks bad. You want him to get a scholarship, right? He goes, yeah. I said, so if I put him on the power play and fumbles pucks all the time, is that good for him? Is like that make you happy? Like, it might make you happy, but it's not helping the team, not helping him. So that will never change for me.
Well, do you think you should be? This is one of those questions
Approachable?
that doesn't. Yeah, that. But
Yes.
that's not what I was gonna say though. Because this is one of those questions that doesn't have a right answer really. But like, should you be aware of the optics of how you are as
Why
a
do I
coach?
care?
But this is
Yeah.
a real question though, right?
No, I know. This
So
is
it's
my real
like,
answer.
if you have two close buddies on the team
Mm-hmm.
and you're always hanging out with them, should you try to manage that while you're coaching the team for the sake of, I don't know, the appearance of fairness or whatever the situation might be?
I never have a problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
No, I would have anybody could have a problem that, like, if I was a coach, you could have a problem with that if you're my best. We're hanging around all the time, and your kid's mid pack or less, and he's getting a different.
Well,
type
there's the
of
fine
treatment.
line, right?
Well, that's the
Yeah.
fine line, but that's what you have to. That's where you have to be a good coach, and that's where our friendship. Does our friendship hinge on ice time, or are we friends because we're friends? And if we go out for a beer after, we talk about the game. Are you going to get on me and talk about your son's ice time because I didn't give it to him, or is it okay if I say, dude, I'm coaching a team? Like, that's where real friends come. So I don't. The optics of that, to me, that makes no difference. Now, to a lot of people, it does, right? But again, when I was a parent and I was watching the coach, I saw people wanting to be the coach's friend because that's the way their in was, and I didn't care. Like, you're gonna go and talk to them and make sure you get them a coffee or whatever and all that stuff. That's fine, because you're not beating my kid's gonna beat your kid out anyways, right? If you had to struggle for ice time because of that, then for me as a parent, I wouldn't really care. But no, I shouldn't say I wouldn't care. If I lose ice, if my son was at the level where he's losing ice time because of a best friend, then he's not really a hockey player anyways.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
What I think it comes down to, like, if you're, as long as you're honest about what's going on and
Yeah.
transparent about what's
Yeah.
going on, then the integrity piece, obviously,
Yeah.
as a coach,
Yeah.
then, because that's how I feel too. I feel like the optics don't matter because, like, naturally you're still a human.
why can't I
Like,
have a friend?
yeah, right. Like, you're still a human, like, right?
Yeah, why can't you're gonna get in life? You're gonna get along with people, certain people, and other
Yeah.
people. It's like whatever.